No hay nadie en el carro, ¿eh?
Esta persona tratando de ayudar a esta muchacha, ojalá y sepa. Y va otra persona ahí mismo.
On August 25th, powerful monsoon storms swept across Southern California, unleashing sudden flash floods, fierce winds, and widespread power outages from the Coachella Valley to desert towns near the U.S.-Mexico border. The most dramatic scene unfolded in the Imperial Valley, where a highway was completely overtaken by floodwaters. Viral footage showed dozens of vehicles almost entirely submerged, with drivers climbing onto their roofs as a Coast Guard helicopter lifted stranded people to safety.
Pobres doñas, ya la libraron, ya les ayudaron ahí a salir a una orilla.
At the same time, thousands were left without electricity. Roads were cut off, and wind gusts near 70 miles per hour with bursts of hail turned an already extreme summer day into a regional emergency within minutes. The Imperial Valley bore the brunt of the storm's force. On State Route 86 near Westmoreland, floodwaters stranded vehicles and forced dramatic rescues, closing the highway for several hours before crews could clear debris and assess the damage.
Service. Hey, move your head. Fuck you, I'm videoing.
Across the valley, the Imperial Irrigation District reported that more than 4,000 customers lost power after nearly 300 poles were knocked down by strong winds, with Brawley, Calexico, and surrounding communities among the hardest hit. Streets in low-lying neighborhoods were inundated, and several smaller county roads remained blocked into the next day by mud, rock, and standing water. In the Coachella Valley, cities including Palm Springs, Cathedral City, Palm Desert, and Coachella experienced sudden flooding that swamped intersections and forced temporary road closures. Palm Springs logged a peak wind gust of 54 miles per hour as the storm swept across, accompanied by heavy lightning and localized rainfall totals, surpassing an inch in canyon areas. Farther north in the Morongo Basin, 29 Palms, Joshua Tree, and Yucca Valley saw streets briefly transformed into rushing channels, with mud flows and runoff closing multiple stretches of road. San Diego County's mountains and desert fringe recorded some of the strongest winds, with gusts close to 70 miles per hour and bursts of hail that added to the damage. By late Monday night, dozens of routes across Imperial and Riverside counties were still closed or partially restricted as crews worked through the debris.
Stuck. Homeboy lost his car. Civic's back there, look at it. Man.
No hay nadie en el carro, ¿eh?
Look at homeboy's car.
Experts say that the flooding was driven by a surge of monsoonal moisture moving north from the Gulf of California and Sonora into Southern California. National Weather Service reports confirmed that this moisture combined with unstable atmospheric conditions to produce intense, localized rainfall, particularly over Imperial and Riverside counties. Experts noted that these storms developed rapidly along outflow boundaries created by earlier cells, which focused heavy rain over narrow areas, including Highway 86 and nearby desert washes. The situation was intensified by extremely hot and dry surface conditions in the Imperial Valley and surrounding deserts. According to the National Weather Service, the parched ground could not absorb the sudden rainfall, causing rapid runoff that overwhelmed roads, washes, and low-lying areas. High wind gusts, along with bursts of hail and lightning, contributed to infrastructure damage, including downed power poles, which worsened the impact on communities. Forecasters emphasize that this combination of abundant monsoonal moisture, localized storm boundaries, and dry heat-stressed soils is what led to the unusually fast and severe flash flooding observed that afternoon.
Todo se convirtió en mar aquí, la carretera.
Despite warnings issued earlier in the day, the flooding caught many residents and travelers by surprise. National Weather Service discussions noted that while flash flood watches were active, the precise timing and location of the heaviest rainfall were difficult to predict due to the fast-moving nature of monsoon cells. Storms developed along subtle outflow boundaries that are not easily detected until the updrafts are already forming, which meant that certain areas, like stretches of Highway 86 and low-lying desert washes, received concentrated downpours in a very short time. Forecasters also highlighted that the extreme heat leading up to the event contributed to the sudden severity. Hard-baked soils reduced infiltration, causing rainwater to quickly accumulate on streets and in washes, increasing flood speed and height. The combination of rapidly forming storm cells, concentrated rainfall corridors, and dry heat-stressed terrain created conditions where floodwaters rose within minutes, leaving little time for motorists and residents to respond. Emergency services, including the Coast Guard and local fire crews, had to act quickly to rescue those trapped, demonstrating how fast the situation escalated. In the aftermath of the floods, officials emphasized that recovery and caution would remain necessary in the coming days. Utility crews worked to restore electricity and replace damaged poles, with localized service interruptions expected until repairs were fully completed. Transportation agencies continued to assess roads and highways, repairing washouts and clearing debris, but secondary routes and low-lying streets remained hazardous for travel. Forecasters from the National Weather Service and Southern California Weather Force warned that lingering monsoonal moisture could produce additional afternoon and evening storms through midweek, making some areas vulnerable to further flash flooding, particularly along recently saturated washes and recently damaged roadways.
That is my car.
Authorities advised residents and travelers to monitor updated weather forecasts, adhere to detours, and exercise caution when moving through areas prone to runoff and flooding. Cooling centers remained available for those affected by temporary power outages during continued heat, and public safety officials encouraged everyone to remain alert to emergency alerts and guidance. While the storm had passed, experts emphasized that awareness and preparation were essential, as Southern California's monsoon season can produce sudden, severe weather with little notice. The events of August 25, 2025, serve as a clear reminder of the sudden and severe nature of Southern California's monsoon season. In just a few hours, roads were submerged, vehicles were trapped, power infrastructure was damaged, and communities were left to respond to rapidly rising floodwaters. Thanks to the swift action of emergency responders, including the Coast Guard, fire crews, and local authorities, no fatalities were reported. While the immediate threat has passed, continued vigilance is necessary, as the combination of monsoonal moisture, heat, and unstable terrain can produce flash floods with little warning, reinforcing the need for communities to remain informed and ready for future storms. As always, thank you for watching and supporting our channel. Stay safe and stay aware.